This meeting to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. The clerk will now call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Present.
Councilmember Middleton,
Present.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Present.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Present.
Councilmember Rathmel, present, Councilmember Dundon.
Present.
All,
Last one.
it's because you're right there. Councilmember Matavetsky,
Present.
all present.
Call for a motion to approve the business meeting minutes for December 27th, 2023.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
All right, we'll take a voice vote. So, aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Call for a motion to approve organizational meeting minutes for January 3rd, 2024.
I approve a motion. Make motion. I'll second that motion.
And we'll take a voice vote.
Aye.
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 Aye, okay. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. A call for a motion to approve business meeting minutes for January 5th, 2024.
I make a motion to approve.
I
Okay,
second.
and a voice vote.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Okay, now we move on to council president appointments. So for the Binghamton Local Development Corporation, it will be Councilman Kavanaugh. For Binghamton Urban Renewal Agency, Councilman Hotchkiss. For Commission on Architecture and Urban Design, Councilman Kavanaugh. Community Development Advisory Committee will be Councilwoman Middleton, and we will be appointing citizens on January 24th, 2024, to give citizens an opportunity to submit their resumes. If you are interested in the Community Development Advisory Committee, CDAC, please submit your resume to clerk@cityofbinghamton.gov. For the Traffic Commission, it will be myself, Councilwoman Betsky, okay. For the Water Street Development Corp, that will be Councilman Hotchkiss. We will do the Shade Tree Committee appointments at the next business meeting on January 24th, 2024, to give citizens an opportunity to submit their resumes. If you're interested in the Shade Tree Committee, please send your resume to clerk@cityofbinghamton.gov. Are there any objections to these appointments? Okay. Hearing no objections, the appointments are approved. At this point, we will move forward to hear public comment. Residents wishing to submit public comment may do so electronically by emailing their comments prior to 1 p.m. on the day of the meeting to clerk@cityofbinghamton.gov or in person during the meeting. Each resident will have 5 minutes to speak. Please state your name and if you live or work in the city of Binghamton. So if you're interested in speaking, please come down to the mic. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
There's a green button on it.
Record, on the record now. How you guys doing?
All right.
My name is Matthew Paul Selecta. I'm born and raised on the south side of Binghamton, 9 Sherwood Ave. Been there my whole life. I've been discriminated against because I'm a drug addict. I go to BCC, but I've also been discriminated because I don't know who this ARO officer is, Hughes, but there's also an officer here named Hughes. And it's all I got my folder there. It's all messed up. I've been to internal affairs because there was an internal affairs case opened when my case started. Now it's closed. There's dates that are switched. I should have the right to have privacy in my own home, right? Isn't that a right still or no?
Yes.
I would think so.
Yeah.
And I've been to the county building. Mike Baker, he's a joke. Don't even get me started there. We'll go on forever. But I've asked everybody and anybody for help. Now I'm at the Red Roof Inn. They wouldn't even give me a fucking, excuse my language, a bus pass.
It's okay.
Come on, man. Have some heart. My father was a Navy SEAL. He didn't fight for this. There's people stealing houses. They stalked me out. Ostonic, Blackman, freaking Dunham, Joe Zakowski's brother, whatever. It's a small city, right? We all know some Kavanaugh, I know him. You know, it's a small city. My father was the boss of the bus drivers of Broome County Transit for years. So for me to not get any help from this goddamn city, and I'm the only one that lives in this city, it seems like, but God forbid, man, have mercy on the souls that freaking stalked me with that goddamn new truck. Congratulations. You have a truck. You can stalk people because there's nobody here to stalk. Enough's enough, man. Why would I? And I got a case tomorrow because they're literally forcing me to take a deal. I'm not taking it. I'm going to goddamn trial. Fuck that. Excuse my language on the records.
Fine.
Excuse my language.
That's okay.
But my anger is now I'm homeless. I thought you don't want to make a homeless problem. You made me homeless. Who does that? Who? Binghamton City, that's who. And God forbid, I don't even do drugs because somebody stole my identity. I made police reports when they stole. I don't call police. I got stabbed 4 times before. Like I've been through the ringer. Ain't nobody taught me shit. I taught myself.
Sorry, I'm gonna have
Sorry,
to ask about the profanity
Sorry.
as a point of
Apologize.
order.
I'm just very frustrated. I apologize. But like, enough's enough. I went to UHS because ACBC Katie from Endicott told me to go there. They'll put you upstairs, go inpatient. Okay? So I go there. Next thing you know, they misdiagnosed me. Words are mixed up on the real report because they got to discredit me. I understand that, but do it the right way. Then they switch my medical records. This one lady that I've seen one time in my life prescribed me something that I don't know. I'm not taking that, but they had me up on some floor, drugged out for days. That's not right. Ever since then, my medical records have been switched. Like, I want to just go to school and live my life like everybody else. That's it.
I understand.
And I've spoke to John Chapman when he was at IA. There's Governati, and Flanders is cool, but Governati, they're all on my paperwork. But come on, man. What is it, not a conspiracy?
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
I'm an open book.
No, that's fine. How do you think we can help you?
I don't know. How do you think you could? I think I just need help, like,
Yeah.
getting back in my own house. Like, I can't even talk to my own mother.
Mhm.
When I take care of my mother,
Mm.
I'm a respectful person. I don't disrespect a soul on this earth. I don't. I have a good heart.
Okay.
Like, I want people to get off drugs. I don't want people on drugs. There's enough people that died in the city.
I understand.
First, I had
And I understand, sorry, I understand it's about money and we want to bring up, make things nicer and better, but do it the right way, please. That's all I gotta say.
yeah, I just want
You have 1
to
minute
say
left.
that I'm
Sorry.
sorry that it's been this way for you. Your anger and your profanity is warranted. And I'd be happy to connect with you after the meeting to talk through what I might be able to help with.
Okay,
Thank you, appreciate it.
all right.
Have a good evening.
Generally speaking, during the public comments section, we don't respond. It's just a listening session. So I'm just gonna put that as a reminder for how the
Yeah, no,
section
sorry.
runs.
I apologize for cursing too.
No, that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Aviva Friedman. I live and work in the city of Binghamton.
Hi, Aviva.
Hi, so I didn't prepare anything today, but I just wanted to experience what it's like to be on this side after having been on that side. I want to say a sincere, heartfelt congratulations to everyone. Special shout out to my council representative, Council Member Rathmel, and Councilmember Hotchkiss, who took over most of my district in what I previously would have called gerrymandering, but look how that worked out. So even though I am quite jealous of this council makeup, of course, as an engaged citizen, I do plan to hold you all accountable, as I am happy that you did to me. There are some pieces of legislation that I tried to propose in my term on council that I'm hoping will make a resurfacing, but it's out of my hands. So all I can do is maybe send a few annoying emails and see if we can make that happen. I was thinking on my way here, like I said, I didn't really prepare anything, but I was thinking to the tweet that the mayor tweeted right on election day, saying that he was looking forward to putting politics aside and working in a bipartisan fashion. And so let's see if we can make that happen. So far, it doesn't seem too promising, but I look forward to seeing what this council can do. So I just wanted to say congratulations on the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down. Anyone else interested?
My name is Kenneth Brown. I'm a resident of the city of Binghamton. This comment is regarding the need for you all, city council, to seek outside legal counsel in relation to the supposed District 6 vacancy. Here's a direct quote from Mayor Jared Cram regarding his appointment last week of Phil Strawn to the vacant District 6 city council seat. Any attempt by city council to make a subsequent appointment goes against the legal advice of Corporation Counsel, General Counsel for the New York Conference of Mayors, and outside counsel for the city. An unlawful appointment could lead to a costly legal dispute, which is not in the interest of taxpayers. Let me start by saying I fully agree with the idea that elected officials should not knowingly waste taxpayer money. My handful of public statements in this chamber last year can speak to that, but what I find extremely laughable is Mayor Cram pretending he cares in the slightest about wasting taxpayer money. Where was this worry this last summer when he pushed through city council the now defunct 28-year pilot agreement that it would have given an out-of-town developer an almost 30-year tax break, one that started with a decade of them not paying a single dollar in city taxes? Where was this concern when his former boss, former Mayor David, ran up the taxpayers' bills by the millions with his mismanagement of the joint water sewage treatment plant? Or every year when Chief Zikuski and the BPD come looking for more money for their ever-increasing budget, when we taxpayers seem to not be receiving a proper return on investment in regards to deterring or lowering crime? Or just 2 weeks ago, when he and the former city council finished up spending through almost all of the $46 million in the ARPA funds the city received less than 3 years ago, and without any town halls or basic semblance of concern for public input. For anyone that doesn't know, we had until the end of 2026 to spend those ARPA funds. And yes, I said we, because ARPA money was taxpayer money, not just extra cash for Cram and his cronies to spend as they please, like they treated it as. In regards to ARPA, I'm going to focus on some important numbers quick. ARPA was signed into law on March 11th, 2021. When the former city council rammed through Cram's last-minute $1 million expenditures before leaving office last month, they finished off spending through almost all of the $46 million in a breakneck 1,021 days. December 31st, 2026, the final day to spend ARPA money is currently 1,086 days from today. Cram and the financially negligent Republican-controlled city council spent through it in less than half the time the city was given by the federal government, and not to the wishes or needs of the taxpayer. As history shows us, it's pretty clear Jared doesn't care about the financial well-being of the taxpayer or how he spends our money. So don't fall for the crocodile tears that Jared is crying, trying to sell you on his newfound regard for the taxpayer's financial well-being. He doesn't want to save the city any money. He just wants to try and use manufactured outrage into shaming you Democrats into backing down and bending knee to his appointment of Strawn against the language of the Binghamton City Charter. If he wanted to save taxpayer money, he wouldn't have pursued this in the first place. He wouldn't have cherry-picked state law and instead recognized the laws of the city he was elected to work for. Now, City Council, I will say I fully support your attempt to satisfy your legal obligation of filling the vacancy in District 6. But I beg of you to always consider the best interest of the taxpayers first and foremost. Because although Cram has no personal grounds to stand on in regards to preaching about wasteful taxpayer spending, us voters do. And we all know Democrats can wastefully spend as well as any Republican. So please be the much needed change you were elected to be. And remember that this is our money and you will be using to fight this legal battle, not yours or your party's. Please take every step with full public transparency and with the taxpayer's bottom line in mind, not your own or your political party's personal gains, because in my opinion, the legal right of who makes this appointment should not be about strengthening a party or their majority, but about strengthening and reinforcing Binghamton city law over state law and strengthening the representative nature of Binghamton city government. Will the Democrats benefit from it this time around? Yes, but that shouldn't be the point. The true point should be that the most voter representative body of the city of Binghamton government has the power to maintain itself, not the executive branch, and after this specific situation, not the courts. On that point, I hope with your current power, you codify this right of city council into a clear and unquestionable law. And while doing so, if this situation ever happens in the reverse, you hold you and your party to the same standards we wish to hold Graham and the Republicans and respect the rights of this body and by association, the voters who elected the members. Consistency in politics is in very short supply these days. Please don't be just another part of the problem. Because believe me, I won't hesitate for a second to call a spade a spade. And as City Council President Moraveski suggested we voters do, I will happily hold you accountable. Because after a decade of Binghamton politicians spitting in the face of accountability, the voters and taxpayers deserve so much better. Be that change. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Welcome.
My name is, can you hear me? I'm Steven Cilik. I'm actually a resident of Vestal, but I spend time in the town and the city, and I just wanted to say that I think that this man who spoke at the beginning is right about a lot of things. I think that a lot of the government services with regards to the homeless population they could be doing a better job coordinating those services. And I don't know if you caught Kathy Hochul's inaugural speech, but she was talking about increasing the number of units available for rent assisted housing. And I think that's a really good idea. I think there's properties that can be rehabilitated in the community. So I just wanted to ask you guys to, if you have an extra minute in your day, talk to the people who work for ACBC, the Veterans Affairs Department, and, ask them how they're doing and, what you could be doing to help. And there's a lot of good that you can do just by asking. And I'm not really in a position to do that. So I wanted you to consider it.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Is
you.
there anyone else that has any comments that they'd like to make? Welcome.
Welcome. Tarek Abdelazim. I live in the district where I have one or two or no council members, but I am pleased by this view right here. It's nice to see you all. I just want to also, I'm going to be critical sometimes of y'all. But exactly. But I want to make sure that we give this group some grace. We have 6, 7 legislators that have no experience, right? You've stepped up to serve. Thank you. There's a lot to learn. It is challenging. You're going to rely a lot on your counsel. Your counsel's new. Sylvia is new in her position, so she's still learning. The administration is going to either deny or make it difficult or eventually give you access to a lot of the systems you need, IT support. So I think y'all need grace, and we all need to recognize that your proficiency and effectiveness is contingent on support from the law office and the administration. I noticed that Water Street Development Corporation on Friday, I don't know if you saw this, Nate, I just saw you were appointed, agreed to a $1.3 million termination expense fee because we terminated the contract with Pike before the contract was obviously completed. So they agreed to a $1.3 million payment and nobody can speak about it. You should read the agreement. It literally says you cannot, nobody can say anything. We can't know what if this was paid for, what actually was just given to prevent lawsuits. But this is the responsibility, and this falls on the mayor's office. And this falls on both mayors, Rich David and Jared Cram. They pushed through this project before seeking not only community input, but community approval. And when the school district voted unanimously to deny the tax breaks, they had already started construction. They didn't care. They didn't give a damn. This is what we were going to build regardless. And then when they had to pull it back and end the contract with Pike, we are now paying $1.3 million. That's tax money. So to suggest that the mayor is potentially frustrated about spending a little money to resolve a very important democratic decision is, as the last speaker said, absurd. I appreciate your comments. I was excited to hear that you're committing 90 days of learning. I think that's a fantastic exercise. It emits a lot of humility, but also a very earnestness in learning what the city does and what you all can do with the existing city resources and where there might need to be some policy changes. So thank you. The last speaker also talked about the ARPA dollars. Some of you know I'm one of the secret guys behind the Binghamton Slush Fund. That's a website, binghamtonslushfund.org. Still my favorite website name that I've ever created. Y'all can check it out. It documents every penny that was spent. And I think one thing that was interesting is the speaker did a great job before me talking about this, but of the 46 million, I think it was 28 million was allocated by Rich David in the 6 months of his final office. 28 million, more than half. We didn't even have all the money. We only had 23 million, but he allocated 28 million in his first 6 months. And it was because he was running for Senate, right? He was running for a Senate seat. He wanted to be out in the community and show all the great things that he did.
Don't 1 minute warning.
And if you recall, he also wasted money on that big youth center project in Columbus Park. Never asked anyone. Didn't talk to youth. Spent hundreds of thousands on a design and then pulled it because it was way too costly and there wasn't community support. These Republicans have been they're like drunken sailors. And I really appreciate your commitment to bring financial responsibility and accountability to the city. Last thing, I said it last meeting, but I want to say it to you all. You all have a ton of power, and it's not power for power's sake. It's power to do good, to serve this community, right? So you can pass ordinances that rescind prior ordinances. Just like they committed $1 million to broadband of ARPA funds, and then they passed an ordinance to unallocate $1 million when they didn't need it. You too can make decisions with unspent ARPA funds. So folks like this, where there's damn need, can get some help.
Your time is up.
Instead of commercial facades to folks like Team World, Serafini, and the Binghamton Club.
Thank you for coming. Is there anyone else who's interested in making public comment?
Good evening. My name is Terry Rennia and I live and work in the city of Binghamton. First of all, congratulations. You're really here now. It's really happening. I want to say that this council, the clerk, the deputy clerk, and corporation council as well, you guys are all in uncharted waters, right? And I think, I agree with what Tarek just said. I think it's really important that we, as the public, show some grace as folks get their footing underneath them. And I would certainly encourage that. And I will certainly do my best to do that while still holding people accountable. And I just want to say that there's the minutia and then there's the real work. And unfortunately, I think sometimes we can get so bogged down in the minutia that the real work gets lost. And sometimes people get in front of cameras or in front of microphones or on Twitter or whatever, and say one thing. I look forward to a new era of bipartisanship, I think is some paraphrasing what the mayor said after the election. And then they do something completely different. They hit their brand new city council with legal arguments and with actual lawsuits and attempts at restraining orders and suing new employees. And I think that the whole thing it just reeks of distraction. They want everybody looking over here because you guys are here and focused on what's happening and what needs to be taken care of over here. So I'm asking all of you to please not lose focus on that. I'm also asking you to stand strong and firm in your convictions and your principles, and do not be bullied. So here to say congratulations. I'm here to ask you to represent the best interests of the city. When you sit in these seats, when you take these votes, it's not just for today. It's not just for the next 6 months. When you're taking a stand on something, when you're passing legislation, it's for the future. It's for 3, 5, 10 years from now. And you can't always know every eventuality. You can do your due diligence and do your best, and I know that you all will. And so I look forward to seeing that. You can look forward to seeing me if I don't think you are. I do have a couple requests though, not immediately, but as you start to get your feet under you and get moving, if we could here at these meetings have copies of the agenda and the legislation for the public to look at, that would be awesome. That used to be a common practice. It's not anymore, but that would be amazing if we could do that. And I noticed tonight there is no preferred agenda. I don't know if that's something you guys intend to pursue. I found that the previous council's use of the preferred agenda really just closed a shade on what was happening in city government. Most people who were watching the meetings had no idea what any of those titles meant. They didn't know what was involved. So I noticed you don't have one tonight. I hope that means that we can look forward to hearing what individual pieces of legislation are. If it doesn't, then I'd like to ask that you consider that as well. And in terms of
1 minute mark.
that's all I want to say is just please remain open and try to make it as easy as possible for the public to be involved and stand strong in your convictions. Thank you.
For coming down. Is there anyone else who'd like to make public comment? Welcome.
Evening. So Ernest, that was a word that was mentioned, and I think that is the perfect word to describe this group. I really appreciate you all being here.
Name and whether you work.
Yep.
or-
So good evening. I'm Dr. Misty M. Kirby. I'm a proud Southside homeowner in a district, don't know, we got a couple of people representing us supposedly. I also work, volunteer, and sit on the board of one of our city's many needed nonprofits. I would like to congratulate all of you on being here. It is so refreshing to see a city council that is actually reflective of the city that I now call home. I've lived here for almost 3 years. This is, yeah, well done. As I mentioned, I am a South Side resident. And I am very troubled by the mayor's latest distraction game, because that is absolutely what it is, and playing around with my neighborhood's political voice. We're not happy about this. Why is he fighting so hard to appoint his friend, the incumbent, into this position? There is no clear answer more than political grandstanding. So I'll give you a little self-history. As you can probably tell by my outrageous accent, I am Southern. I was born in Louisiana. I was raised in Mississippi. We know a lot about political corruption down south, y'all. We have a long history in Louisiana, not so proud one, of political corruption around career politicians. See 4-time elected Governor Edwin Edwards and former, prisoner. I was raised in Mississippi, where repressive institutions were used, like the police and the courts, to keep people docile and quiet, to have them not complain aloud in a setting like this. In my nearly 3 years here, I am constantly struck, and not in a good way, by the similarities here and the 1980s Deep South where I grew up. You can imagine when I hear about the abuse that police reign over my community, I am brought back 30, 40 years to a darker place where fear kept people from speaking out. I understand that the police department asserts that they are experiencing a staff shortage. With a starting salary of $88,000, I don't really understand that. It's almost easier to understand a teacher shortage, where one has to have a degree and a credential to get started in Binghamton at $51,519. And you don't even get the bulletproof vest. More teachers were killed in 82 school shootings that this country had than officers on duty last year. I'm here to say that we need to invest in our community. This is no surprise to you all, because this is why you're here. Crime, drugs, and unwanted pregnancies are the hallmarks of poverty. Binghamton doesn't have a shortage of police. We have an overabundance of poverty, and no amount of policing is going to improve the daily lives of people. Things that do help, that the obstructionist mayor and his obstructionist lackeys clearly don't understand, is affordable housing, mental health care, job training. These all make substantial differences. I can provide receipts if the mayor would like those. Where is the vision for improvement for all in the city, and not just those who can afford that summer house, or in the case of many in city government and county government whose ancestors purchased that property, and that they are the beneficiaries of intergenerational wealth? I don't know anything about that. There are several successful Housing First projects going on around the country. We have here in Binghamton several groups, nonprofits and developers for affordable housing. One is in our audience tonight, who have been asking, who have been meeting incessantly with Broome County folks, and yet nothing. These folks, they're good at paperwork, unlike some of the RFLs I'm looking at tonight. Why are we making these people work so hard who want to come in and do good and bring affordable housing to our city? And yet,
Mark.
thank you. And yet we still have people turning in incomplete paperwork. The first thing on our agenda tonight is incomplete paperwork by the newly named deputy mayor. I am neither Team Democrat nor Team Republican. I am team for the people. Voters in your districts put you here to make a difference. Councilwoman Rathmel, I voted for you, but gosh knows what's going to happen there. But we're here with you. Let's work together. Let's make this city great. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael Kirby.
Thank you for coming down. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment?
Good evening, everyone.
Mhm.
It's good to see some friends here for the first time. For the record, I'm Richard Jannaccio, a registered voter enrolled in the Democratic Party and residing in the 6th Councilmanic District. The recent election in November 2023 resulted in a very close initial count and finally was ruled to be a tie after the recount. 1,100 votes, 550 each candidate. It is we the people, my neighbors and myself, who should choose our council member. Not, in my opinion, the mayor, who does not live in our district, nor the 6 council members from other districts. If it was up to me, we would already have had a runoff election. That would be fair, and it would preserve the right of my neighbors and I to choose our representative on this Binghamton City Council. But it's not up to me. It's not up to the mayor. It's not up to the New York State Conference of Mayors. And it's not up to the Corporation Council in training. We have laws. We have precedents. So earlier today, I did what I encouraged the mayor and the Corporation Council to do. I called up the Board of Elections in Albany. And I spoke with a representative there called Rennia, who said she was a specialist in election law. They did not give their last name. Rennia is the person I spoke with. I was told that local law would prevail in the event that there was a vacancy to fill. And I asked if a tie would be considered a vacancy, and she said yes. So there's no municipal law that trumps the city charter. Based on the advice that I got today from the Board of Elections in Albany, prove me wrong, but the city charter says that the city council makes the appointment to fill a vacancy. According to the city charter, a vacancy on the city council is to be filled via appointment by the city council. Such appointment to endure until the next municipal election, which I believe will be 2025. That's what the city charter provides, according to my reading. We can change it in the future, but that's the remedy today for the situation we faced. It is much less egregious than allowing the mayor to compromise the independence of this legislative body, which I find outrageous. Last Friday, the city council invoked the city charter and appointed Rebecca Rathmel to represent my neighbors and me in this legislative body. And in so doing, they made the right decision. Although I personally would have preferred a runoff election, the rule of law in New York State says otherwise. This city council has followed the rule of law, and so I am satisfied with their action last Friday. Rebecca Rathmel, I am honored to have you represent me in city council. That's all I have to say for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment? Welcome.
Hi, friends.
Hey.
My name is Salka Valerio, and I am a Binghamton resident, and I live on Mr. Mike Dunden's district. So I just want to say congratulations to you all. This is a dream come true. It's been a long time coming. I know, I got tired screaming into the void of what the people in Binghamton were asking for. We've filled the city council chambers so many times, people crying, people talking about their struggles, and it all fell on deaf ears. And I just want to say that I'm hopeful now. A lot of my friends are hopeful. A lot of the community members are really hopeful and are looking forward to the next couple of years of, things that you guys come up with. Right now, what I would like to suggest that we bring our Human Rights Commission back. I think that was an important part of the city. I'm tired of being the Human Rights Commission, actually. Um, I get plenty of calls about, police brutality, people losing wages at work, just a bunch of things awful things that happen to people. And I think that our city should definitely have a committee where people can come and give their grievances. So I'm hopeful for that. Also, I would like to see the youth bureau come back. That's also important for the city. The youth is very important. We have a lot of youth that are pretty much looking for things to do. Like, this community doesn't have a lot to offer for youth. Most of the things is bars and clubs, and that's not cool. I think there's more to give and offer to the youth, to hang out and to do things. And we should be able to get some funds and create a youth commission where youth are also involved, where their voices are heard in the city, to develop a program for them. And also, I was about to say the Port Authority, because the Greyhound station looks just like the Port Authority now. And it's not a good thing, because it's pretty much a warming center for our homeless neighbors, which when you go there is pretty sad, because that's the only place that they have to go. There's either there or the public library, or sometimes the laundromat. And I remember before we used to have 24-hour laundromats, and we no longer have. Only one now, I think, is standing, because the homeless would go in there to sleep, and then the owners started locking it up early because they didn't want them to access their laundromats to sleep there. They also used to sleep in the reservoir, right here at the police station. They started locking the doors, so you don't really have automatic access to the station if you really needed help. So we really have to do something about the homeless population. It's increasing rapidly, with the number of evictions, with the number of abandoned places that we have, with people getting displaced, and then also with children being displaced from our district and going to other districts. Homelessness in Binghamton is a real issue.
So 1 minute warning.
Thank you. I really wish that those ARPA funds were spent on the people and into our housing issues. We need an effective shelter. The hotels are out of space. Families with like 3 children are crammed in 1-bedroom hotel room, which is, when you with I know when I'm with my son, I only have 1 kid. I'd be like, go to your room. So to be in a hotel and all your kids are around, I can't imagine the mental health that these parents are going through. So please, 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 whatever you can do as far as like tackling the housing crisis here in Binghamton, I am of service. If you need my help, if you need me to do anything, hit me up. Thank you, guys. And congratulations again. I'm super excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down. Is there anyone else who'd like to make public comment? Welcome.
My name is Bob Wilson. I live on the west side of Binghamton. Robert, I don't know you, but I voted for you. Congratulations all. I want to follow up on some of what folks have said and ask you to be bold and courageous. We've had enough political cowardice in this city to last innumerable lifetimes, and we don't need people to be conciliatory to the fascists in the mayor's office when they spend money, our money, in the way that they have. So that money that Rich David blew and filtered through his cronies and all of the rest of it, that could be housing people right now, and it's not. So you need to be bold when it comes to budget issues like this. We need it. This is our chance right here. This is a chance we haven't had before. I also just want to ask, where is Phil Strawn? I mean, if it's so important for Phil to be here, where is he? I would contend that he's about as useful to this city at home as he is here. He didn't do anything for 4 years. He never wanted to be here anyway. The last thing I would want to say is I would just want to encourage you, representative from the 5th District, not to get too invested in policing the speech of your constituents. This was something that happened a lot on the last city council. Sophia Resiniti's sanctimonious, bigoted, racist, poor-hating nonsense about freaking out when people say dirty words. And if people go over 5 minutes, it's okay if people go over 5 minutes. It's okay if they say bad words. Let's get our priorities straight. Thank you.
Anyone else like to make public comment? Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dominique Rice, and I live, work, and volunteer here in the city of Binghamton. Thank you guys so much for being here and allowing the space for us to be able to share. I wasn't planning on speaking today, but I was very inspired by this gentleman, so thank you for sharing. I am a real estate developer. I am from Binghamton. I was born here in Binghamton, and grew up living all over the country. And I came back to Binghamton about a year ago, and I saw the state of housing here in Binghamton. And this was not why I moved here. This is not why I moved back home. And I just knew that there was something that needed to be done. And I know there's stuff that needs to be done. So I've been working tirelessly on projects without any support or any funding thus far. And I would really like to challenge you guys to find some time. Like, we can talk about affordable housing. We can say all of the stuff that we want to say. But if there's no money to fund true affordable housing projects, then we're really just wasting our time talking about it. If this gentleman doesn't have anywhere to go and there's no apartments coming up, there's no developments for him to go anywhere, we have to find where the money is going to come from. So my challenge for you guys is to really take some time and look at the budget and say, hey, like, this is the kind of affordable housing we want. This is what we want to see. And this is what we want to put out requests for, proposals for developers that can handle this kind of properties and this kind of development. And these developers will come. We're here and we're wanting to develop. And now we have to look at other markets that are more open to that, like Syracuse and Buffalo, because they are being inventive. Their council are putting out RFPs and they are wanting to see true affordable housing, extremely low affordable housing, 1-bedroom units, 3- and 4-bedroom units, diversifying affordable housing and making it sustainable for the long term. And so my challenge for you guys is to take some time and to find some room in the budget and to say, where is the money going to come from and what you want to see with that. I've spoken and reached out to many of you guys already, and we do have multiple proposals. We have multiple projects that we're ready to break ground on. We have site control, we have contractors, we have quotes. We even have supplies and materials for some of our projects ready to go when we're waiting for funding. We also receive grants from other organizations that want to support it, and everyone is asking, where is your local support? What does your council say about this? And so the previous council never responded to my emails. Most of the time, most members didn't respond ever. So I will definitely take the opportunity to reach out to you guys individually and would love to share and schedule time to talk about the different projects. Not saying that you have to fund it, but just getting your feedback. What do your constituents need? What sounds good? And having that open door policy. The other thing that I would like to share is that I do volunteer. I do work and volunteer for my family's organization, the Astor D. Rice Foundation, and we are doing an amazing youth program at East Middle School. And it is so cool to see how much kids develop when you believe in them and when you support them. Tomorrow is our graduation for our program, and we have a hot Cheeto and Taki bar because that's what they wanted. And it took so long for them to have their opinion, you know? And so that's not what we thought we were going to have, but that's what they wanted. And so just spending time listening to the youth, creating safe spaces for youth is so important for the city of Binghamton. And however we can help and however we can support, we definitely want to do so. And so, like many people have said, there are organizations, there are nonprofits, there are for-profit developers that are here to support affordable housing as well as the youth. And we just really want to tap in with the city council to see how we can help and what progress we can actually make.
Thank you so much. Anyone else would like to speak for public comment? Okay. I would like to request the clerk read any of the emails she received prior to 1 p.m. today for public comment.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, as a reminder, you can email clerk@cityofbinghamton.gov before 1 p.m. on the day of a meeting, and we will read your comment aloud at the meeting. Just time myself, see how far I get. City Council, over the past 2 months, you have all been singing praises and jumping for joy that you have secured your spots on council. Although it is abundantly clear one thing you were not doing was researching laws, watching past council meetings, and simply learning the basic duties of what the job as city council member entails. A simple read through Robert's Rules, the City Charter, and New York State open meetings laws would have easily prevented the numerous mistakes, embarrassing meeting etiquette, and constant late or non-existent agendas and legislation. You came in unprepared for the job that you claim you know better than anyone else, and it shows. The first work session of the year, you even had a councilman absent. Everyone on this council loves to scream and belittle the mayor, city hall department heads, and former councils by claiming to know best, but in the same breath, ask for the patience because you are new. The hypocrisy is unreal. Your private agenda is not how a city grows. It takes teamwork, which you are all obviously not interested in building. These first 2 weeks are telling that you do not have the entire city of Binghamton's best interest in mind, but only the people who agree with your same views. You're not willing to learn, you're not willing to work together, and you're not willing to grow up and put your politics aside for the good of the community we all live in. Hadassah said it herself, keep us accountable. But when accountability is called out, all I hear is, we're new, we don't know what we're doing. That's the problem. If putting politics aside and listening to all members of our community isn't on your agenda, then maybe this isn't the job for you. Francesca Ham, resident of Binghamton.
Is there any other comments or emails?
The only comment that we received with identifying information. So please do make sure you put your name and whether you live and work in the city of Binghamton, as it's important for us to be able to announce the comment.
Thank you. We will now move on to reading the non-preferred legislation. I'd like to recognize the Chair of Finance Committee, Councilman Kavanaugh, concerning introductory ordinance 24-01.
Okay, this is an ordinance to amend the 2024 general fund budget to fund a police lieutenant position for the whole budget year 2024 and defund a grade 1 police officer for the whole budget year of 2024. Increase in benefits associated with the change of grade will be applied. This was discussed at some length in the work session. I will recap quickly. This is in relation to the ongoing situation with Lieutenant Quinones. Essentially, after the hearing officer's decision came down, there was a court order that came down that requires the city to pay his back pay and future pay while this litigation continues. The city had funds set aside or in reserve some way to catch up to December. But there is no funding mechanism for January 1 going forward. So this resolution, this ordinance will address that, and it has been court ordered. So it was expedited to comply with that court order. I'm doing my presentation of it. Oh, so that's my presentation on the whatever.
So, okay. Okay, is there a motion to open the discussion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right. So the discussion is open. Anyone like to speak?
I mean, I think this is
Councilman
appropriate.
Brennan?
Yes, for the questions that we asked at the work session, seeing that this is something that's gone on for 20 years. And it does help Binghamton a little bit and add in 8 bodies, but it's more for the smaller municipalities of Johnson City and Vestal. 21-0. Oh, I'm sorry, I got them confused. Never mind.
Any further discussion?
Yes, when Megan was here, she stated the reason why needed to be done, and so I agree with that.
So, do we have a motion to vote on this? Yeah, call the question, sorry. Yes. So if there's no further discussion, do I have a question?
Question's been called.
So Nate calls the question. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay. So we'll the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavesky.
Aye.
6 ayes, 1 abstention.
To
Ms. Pat-
add, as this moves forward, those watching and those in the audience will notice that tonight, this evening, I am not voting on anything introduced. That is not by choice, but because I don't want to risk invalidating any of the legislation as the legal dispute continues. So I am engaged and involved in committee discussion and caucus discussion, but will not be voting this evening.
Thank you. All right, so now we move on to introductory ordinance 24-02. So we'll be reading non-preferred legislation, and the president recognizes the chair of the finance committee, Kavanaugh, considering this introduction.
Okay, this is an ordinance to amend the BJCSB, that's the Binghamton Johnson City Sewage Board 2024 budget to increase hourly rates due to a 2.66% CPI increase and change the position count by defunding a position. And I will wait for discussion.
Floor is open for discussion. Is there any discussion? Okay.
I will just reiterate what we covered at the work session. This is basically a almost a cost of living increase for some of our frontline sewage treatment plant workers. It's an internal movement of money to sewage treatment plants. There's no increase cost to the taxpayers unless it's already budgeted money. They're just asking it to be slightly reallocated to some folks that I'm sure deserve a raise, and I yield.
Great. If there's no further discussion, do I have a question?
I'll call the question.
A second.
Second.
All right. So question's been called. Can the clerk take a roll?
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavesky.
Aye.
6 ayes, 1 abstention.
Motion passes. Great. Now we are looking at, we're moving on to the reading of the non-preferred legislation, introductory ordinance 24-3. So I'll recognize Councilmember Kavanaugh, who is the Chair of the Finance Committee.
Having a busy night tonight. An ordinance to amend the Binghamton John City Sewage Board 2024 budget position, count to defund one mechanic assistant and fund one mechanic's position. Very similar to 24-02. This is an internal movement of money to deal with a reclassifying a position at the sewage treatment plant. I would like to add to my discussion of this in a minute. I would.
Do I have a second? Second and then discussion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. Motion by Councilmember, was it Hotchkiss, right? Okay, perfect. So we'll now open up for discussion. Does anyone want to say anything? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, nice. Councilman Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that these two ordinances, these two RLs came in later than we would normally want to consider them. They were passed by the sewage board back in December, but because of the end of the year and the plethora of legislation at the end of the year, they weren't accepted by the previous clerk, I guess, and council. They were sent back. So we didn't get them till late last week. And just given the transition into the new council and clerk. I felt they should be expedited. That's why I pushed for expediting them. Despite our commitment to cutting back on expediting. That's all.
Is there any further discussion?
I would just add that I went to the sewage board meeting and was starting to familiarize myself with that whole plant. And to reiterate, these mechanics their responsibility is to protect like our most expensive asset and infrastructure project that we have here in Broome County. So I think it's appropriate that they have proper wages to do that. So.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. If there's no further discussion, do I have a question?
I'll make the question.
All right. The question's been called. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. And the clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
6 ayes, 1 abstention.
Motion is passed. We'll now move on to reading the non-preferred legislation. And I recognize Councilman Kavanaugh, the Chair of the Finance Committee, concerning introductory resolution 24-1.
This is a resolution for the mayor to authorize Bonadillo and Company LLP for auditing services for the city.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Motion by Council Member Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Middleton. I will now open up for discussion. Would anyone like to say anything for discussion?
Just to reiterate some things from the work session. We are, as a council, we were coming in at the tail end of this process. There was an RFP put out. Multiple firms did respond. The controller and administration wish to go with Bonadillo. They are the current auditing firm. This is going to be a 3-year contract with 2 optional 1-year extensions. They are in future council, this came with work session, would like to be more involved when when the pitches sort of come in on the RFPs to get a broader sense of who's bidding and why, and have our own sense of what's going on. However, Bonadio is certainly seems to be a reputable firm, has been serving the city for a number of years. And I think we sort of have to default or defer to the process as we found it at this time.
Thank you. Is there any other further discussion?
Did they ever say who or brought up any information on where's bidding for those?
They did. Hold on, I have it.
Yes, the mayor's office provided the other names, which I do not have in front of me at the moment, but they sent the other firm names.
Okay. I would like to have that information on this, but. okay.
Yes, we can forward that to you, I'm sure.
Is there any further discussion? Okay. Seeing no further discussion, do I have a question?
Call the question.
Question's been called. Do I have a second?
I second.
Great. The question was called by Council Member Hotchkiss and seconded by Councilwoman Middleton. And so the clerk can now call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Nay.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh, Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
So I have 5 ayes, 1 nay, and 1 abstention.
The motion is passed. We will now move on to reading the non-preferred legislation. And I recognize Councilmember Kavanaugh, the Chair of the Finance Committee, for concerning
Not
introductory.
this time.
No.
Oh, sorry. What? Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it. Okay, my bad. So the next introductory resolution is with the Municipal Affairs Committee, and our chair for the Municipal Affairs Committee is Councilwoman Middleton, and this is concerning the introductory resolution 24-02.
A resolution to enter a MOU with Vestal Johnson City Police SWAT. This is just an agreement that has been in place for 20 years to continue on.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Um, Okay, so we've identified a clerical error here. The resolution states that the committee is employees, but we know that the committee is municipal affairs. So I'll entertain a motion to amend the legislation to correct that clerical error.
I'll make the motion.
All right.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Councilman Dundon and seconded by Councilman Middleton. All right. Okay. So, all right, so, do I have a second to bring us to discussion?
Second.
Okay, so motioned by Councilwoman Middleton, seconded by Councilmember Hotchkiss. We'll now open up for discussion.
We're talking about discussion on the MOU, correct? Okay,
MOU.
just wanted to make sure before I put my foot in my mouth again. So as we were talking about in the work session and when I mentioned when I had my my ordinances out of line, is that this benefits Vestal and Johnson City more because being a smaller municipality, they would never be able to fulfill a SWAT. So with each of them putting in 4 and then Binghamton putting in 13, it alleviates us from having to fill 8 positions, but it benefits them. And from my understanding, I believe Vestal and Johnson City has already signed this into effect. So it's just waiting on us.
I was just going to add on to this. Also, I guess this agreement has been in place. The reason why it has been expedited is because they weren't aware that the agreement had expired. So they reached out to the state, and then the state in return gave them some time in order to renew this, excuse me.
Any further discussion? Okay, if there's no further discussion, do I have a question on the legislation as amended? The motion. Seeing none, I will now entertain a motion to
I'll make the motion to enter into the MOU agreement.
amended. What? Okay, as amended. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. So the amended motion is made by Councilmember Dundon and seconded by Councilmember Middleton. Can the clerk take a roll?
Councilmember Porter,
Nay.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky. I have 1 nay, 4 aye, and 1 abstention. One nay, 4 aye, and 1 abstention, or 5 aye and 1 abstention, excuse me.
Okay.
1 nay, 5 aye, 1 abstention.
The motion passes. We will now move on to reading the non-preferred legislation. Now I'm back to recognizing the Chair of the Finance Committee, Councilmember Kavanaugh, regarding introductory resolution 24-03. It's Hotchkiss.
Yeah. No problem.
Sorry, yes, the Special Rules Committee.
Yeah, so this is a introductory resolution, 24-03, a resolution authorizing council to obtain outside legal counsel. Right before this meeting, we had the Special Rules and Projects Committee meeting to discuss this resolution. Basically, we were and arguably still are in murky legal waters. So, and that put Corporation Council in kind of a sticky spot where they couldn't both represent the mayor and city council when we're the defendants on a lawsuit, and respectively the mayor is the plaintiff. So we're having a little bit of difficulty getting or figuring out how we could obtain outside counsel to represent us. So we were trying to introduce this, but it's my understanding that right before this business meeting, we did obtain outside legal counsel with the help of Corporation Counsel and the mayor. Is that accurate? Yes. Okay, so now, now I'm not sure what to do with this because we no longer need it.
Madam
okay.
President, I would
Yeah.
like to make a motion to withdraw resolution 24-03.
Okay.
from
I will
consideration.
second that
All
motion.
right, great. Can the, yes, discussion on the motion to withdraw. Is there any discussion on the motion to withdraw?
I mean, I would like to comment. I mean, we've been in a, obviously with the dueling appointments situation with the mayor and council. We've been, and I said at our special business meeting last Friday, we've been seeking an amicable way to get through a legal process with this. I will say that path took a far bumpier turn at the beginning of this week than I had hoped. Which has resulted in our members' desire to create and pass this motion, which is an extraordinary action of city council. The second-class cities law makes it pretty clear that corporation council generally represents the city, and that would include usually city council. But we are in, as Terry Rennia, I think, said earlier, uncharted waters. And I would push back against that. These are not uncharted waters. There's a very clear legal precedent that has been found by the courts of kind of a fundamental right to counsel in these sorts of fights between different parts of local governments, despite the second-class cities law. And I will send a list of some of these cases to the clerk for inclusion in the record, because I do feel that we are in the right in taking this very unusual step. And I do want to say that we respect our charter, and I think we've made a clear stand on that. But there are also fundamental democratic issues at stake here. However, we were ready to take this step. However, big however, Corporation Council, I think also did some research and thinking, and found in the city charter a way forward for us to get outside counsel. Just before this meeting, Corporation Council signed retention letter would be the letter of retention, letter of representation.
Letter.
What?
Engagement.
Engagement letter. Thank you. An engagement letter with the with outside counsel that will be representing city council and the clerks in the upcoming legal case, which has papers due on the 16th. So it is very good that we resolve this now, and in this way that I think will get us a clean appearance before a judge, and hopefully a swift resolution for everybody's sake. I will stop rambling.
Any further discussion? Okay, if there is no further discussion, do I have a motion to withdraw?
I'll make the motion to withdraw.
I second.
Great. Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilman Porter. If the clerk can call a roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Aye. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky.
Aye.
I have 6 ayes and 1 abstention.
Motion is passed. We will now move on to communications from council members. So we'll start with Councilmember Porter.
I want to thank everyone for coming and speaking publicly. I've also, like you, I am concerned with all the things that are going on and has gone on from the past government that has not done the things that need to be done. And I want to be held accountable. And this has been a little difficult for me, for that this is new to me, but I want to serve the people, and that's most important. So again, thank you. And I'm willing to take on this job.
Thank you. Okay. Second district.
I want to start by just saying sorry, in the beginning when we were having our public comment. More importantly, when, the young gentleman was speaking, I was really just more concerned on how we can help. My job every day, besides being a council member, I see, different things in a different aspect. I live probably in the second district, which is one of the wealthier sides of Binghamton. So I see so many aspects. So to me, it's just basically, how can I help? Like, what do you need? Because I definitely feel the pain of others. I know that we can do better in Binghamton, and we will do better. How I feel right now, I'm excited because it's a new journey, scared, just annoyed with the little things that are going on. But more importantly, why I ran, why I'm here is it's about service and serving the people of Binghamton. So even though we are distracted by things that you may see, we are all here to serve you all. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Kavanaugh for the third. And then we're jumping over here. Councilmember Hotchkiss for the fourth.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming down and making your comments. It's a little bit surreal, being on this side of everything. I feel like I've watched hundreds of hours of council meetings, like despite how embarrassing that is. Now I'm here and I'm really looking forward to doing this work and trying to fulfill the promise of city council and of all the things that I've stated in my campaign, but really just to serve the people. I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm looking forward to having everybody stay engaged. Something that struck me is one of the commenters brought up that they're willing to avail themselves for help. And I know we're all going to need help along the way, because it's already struck me that like this is a very intense position and there's a lot of things we can do here, but the unfortunate reality is it's part-time work at best, and everyone else has other responsibilities outside of this position. So while we're in a leadership role, we still need the support of the community and want to keep you all engaged and have you continue to help us shape the city to be what we want it to be. So thank you all for being here. And another thing that was mentioned, I know we have a new corporation council, we have a new city council. We also have a new clerk and they've been doing a really great job under these circumstances. So I just wanted to acknowledge them. Thank you for all you're doing. You're doing exceptional. So that's all. Thank you all.
And Rebecca Rathmel, sixth.
Thank you. Like Nate, it is a bit surreal to be on this side of the room, and I'm immensely grateful to be sitting here. I've sat in those seats. I've sat in that seat for the last decade, sharing public comment, asking city council members to consider the needs of city residents. And I want to simply reiterate to all of you and those that are watching that your comments, your experiences are no longer going to fall on deaf ears. Every one of us ran with a commitment to hear from you and to engage with you. My expertise is homeless services and affordable housing, so thank you to those who are here tonight talking about what needs to be done. There's a lot that we can do and there's a lot that we will do. So I'm grateful, I'm humbled. I understand that this legal dispute complicates things, but it truly is just a distraction. There's work done and my commitment remains to the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Dunn for the 7th.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'd also like to comment on, we just got sworn in 9 days ago. And in 9 days of our on-the-job training, we've had the biggest public distraction anybody could ever hope to go through while they're being trained on a new job. So yeah, we have had some stumbles, we've had some fumbles, but we're here, we're doing the job, we're looking over legislation, no matter how much people have tried to distract us in our process. So yeah, you can hold us accountable, but bear with us, because anybody else, if they were learning a new job, would not have the public distraction we've had to go through and the legalities we've had to go through while still learning the position. But I thank you all for coming. I thank all the public comment, and you can hold us accountable any day. Any one of us you can reach out to, and we will all get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Dundon. So yes, thank you all for coming out. It's great to see people in the seats and people being brave and coming up and talking to such a big table. I know how intimidating it is looking in both directions. So it's definitely bravery to come out here and speak. So I started out talking about 90 days of learning. Kind of want to give a status on what that looks like for me. I have booked a ride along with the police during the day because it was told to me that evening and night was not enough. So I'm going back for another ride to see what they see during the day. I've booked a ride along with code enforcement. Code enforcement was a top concern for my constituents when I was running. So I am going to be doing a ride along in the South Side with code calls. And then I am in the process of setting up a ride along with Parks and Rec. Southside has some great parks, and I look forward to seeing how they are maintained. So definitely trying to keep some focus on the 90 days of learning and bringing it back to that. In terms of what is going on in the 5th district between now and our next meeting, the zoo is taking donations of old Christmas trees. So if you are looking to upcycle your Christmas tree into something fun for the goats, the zoo is taking Christmas trees until January 30th. They can't have any tinsel, and there's some kind of rules about how the tree has to be a natural tree, obviously, no plastic trees. And there's more information on the Ross Park Zoo Facebook page. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is coming up, and there will be special events from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the Discovery Center. They're going to have all sorts of nice activities to help remember Martin Luther King Jr. And I can say I was there for their Veterans Day program, and it was very lovely. Additionally, I was reached out to regarding the county maps. There's been some comments towards the city redistricting. There's right now ongoing issues with the county level redistricting, and they do affect District 5. The communities of Saratoga Heights and Saratoga Terrace are in an area that is looks to be redistricted into a highly rural community. So that would be quite a change in terms of representation for them. So they are having a public meeting tomorrow at the county building, I believe at 5 p.m. If you are interested, you can email me and I'll double check, make sure I got the right, it's 5 p.m. Great. And so if you are interested in coming out and sharing your thoughts on that, there's definitely only tomorrow at 5 p.m. as your option to speak on that issue. So, and the Broome County office building. So we're in the city office, and the counties where you pay county taxes if you go and pay yeah. So 5 o'clock. Yep. So, I'll throw that out there as something that would be good and definitely impacting the 5th district. Again, thank you all. Very excited to have survived my first business meeting as president. So thank you so much. I will entertain. Oh, and again, if you have questions, concerns, comments, you can always email our clerk's office. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, let's take a voice vote.
Aye.
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 Adjourned. Thank you.